story time because there's been a lot of shit going on. I'm a medical surgical technician, which is a fancy word for CNA. I'm not a surgical technician like most people think. Surgical technicians work in the OR. A medical surgical technician basically is a CNA with extra duties in a hospital. I do everything a CNA would do, but I also draw blood, which most CNAs do not draw blood. You know, from what I know, nursing assistants don't really do that. So that's kind of what makes us, I guess, surgical technicians. And then we do a lot of extra stuff that nursing assistants wouldn't normally do in our zone. Anyway, that's neither here or there, just to give you a little heads up about what I do, you know, at the hospital. So anyway, this is the last day of work, and I'm already irritated because I wanted to get called off. Like, I really wanted to get called off. I wanted to get low census. And low census at my job is where an employee gets called off and say, hey, you know, you don't have to come in until we call you. And this is just basically because the census of the patients is low, so they don't need as much staff. And everybody has a turn. So it was my turn next. It still is my turn, but, you know. And so I was hoping I would get it that night because that way I could be off the day before my birthday, you know. So, but it didn't happen. So I ended up coming in, and they were like, you know, do you want to float to the 6th floor? Do you want to sit on the 4th floor? And sit is where you sit with a patient who has psychological problems to make sure that they don't hurt themselves or hurt anybody else. So that's what a sitter is. So do you want to float to the 6th floor, sit on the 4th floor, or float to the 11th floor? Now, I already had a run-in on the 11th floor. That's a whole nother story. And the 6th floor, just in general, I didn't feel like being a tech that night. I didn't feel like being on the floor, being a nursing assistant that night. I was like, I'd rather just sit. And when you just sit, you sit for the whole 12 hours or however long they need you. And that's it. That's all you do. You sit and you watch the patient and you make sure they don't do anything. So anyway, of course, I choose to sit. And so I'm on the way over to the 4th floor, and I'm walking with one of my coworkers, and she decides to float to the 6th floor. So, you know, I'm sitting, I get to the 4th floor, I go in the patient's room, you know, I'm sitting with the patient for not even 5 minutes, y'all. It didn't even feel like 5 minutes. I'm just sitting there. And all of a sudden, my coworker that I walked over to the, you know, side of the building with, she comes from the 6th floor to the 4th floor. She comes up to me, comes to the room, and says, hey girl, the 6th floor actually needed a 12-hour shift tech, but I'm only here for 4 hours. Yes, we have a 4-hour shift that exists. It's a 7 to 11. So a lot of PRN people will do 4 hours or 8 hours here and there, and she's PRN and she'll do like 4 or 8. So this night she happened to be doing 4, and she's like, yeah, so they didn't mention that they needed a tech for 12 hours, and I'm only here from 7 to 11, so they need us to swap out. So, you know, now I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I don't even want to be here, and you know, here we go, that I have to be on the floor, which is something I really, really, really don't want to do. So I'm like, all right, shit, fuck it, you know, there's nothing I can do, I have to go, you know. So I'm like, damn, you know. So I'm irritated. I get on the elevator, I go up to the 6th floor, I walk up to one of the desks, and there's 2 women sitting behind the desk, right? 2 white women. They said, hey, how are you? And I said, I'm not doing so good. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I just turned 25, and I don't know what it is. It's like, the older I'm getting, the more just honest and straightforward I am, you know, like it is what it is kind of attitude sometimes about things. So when people ask me, hey, how are you? I tell them how I really feel. Like, oh, I'm tired, or I'm stressed out, or whatever, you know. It used to be a common thing where I would just be like, just regurgitate that common lie where it's like, yeah, I'm doing fine, and it's like, bitch, you know damn well you're not doing fine. So, you know, I told him, I said, not doing so good, or whatever. And I didn't say it in a crazy way, I didn't say it in a bitchy way, I didn't say it in an unprofessional way. I was just honest, and I said I wasn't doing so good, because I didn't feel like being there. So they were like, oh, or whatever, and I said, what patients am I getting, right? One of the ladies, she's like, right there. And I was like, huh? And she points to a stack of papers and a phone sitting on the desk or whatever. And so the stack of papers were patient sheets, and the phone was, you know, the work phones that we keep on our hip that we use to communicate with each other. And I said, did the tech leave? Because if you're just saying, like, right there, and like that's my group of patients, and you know I'm supposed to be getting a report, like I'm thinking the tech left, right? So I said, did the tech leave? And she said, yeah, I sent her home. And she like pops her jacket and like folds her arms and sits back in her seat and then stares at me. And she said it real sarcastically, and then looked at me as if I was supposed to figure out the problem. Like, bitch, what more do you want from me? And I just thought it was so unprofessional, because I'm coming to accommodate y'all. Like, I'm coming to accommodate y'all to help y'all out because y'all don't have enough techs. Like, when we get floating is where a unit sends their staff to other units to accommodate for low staffing in whatever specific unit that they were sent to. So I'm here to help y'all bitches out. And you're already unprofessional and you have an attitude with me. And you clearly show that you just don't, you know, you're not showing any willingness to like to be professional about it or helpful. And when I say helpful, like, you'll see what I mean. So I said it just like this. I didn't say it in a bitchy way, and I did not yell, and this is exactly what I said. I said, okay, that's not supposed to happen. I'm gonna call my supervisor. And I walked away. And that was wrong for me to say that. Not wrong for me to do it, because I was very much right, because that is not protocol. I didn't know at the time that the lady that I was speaking to that told me that she sent the girl home was the charge nurse over the unit for that night. I didn't know that. As soon as I turned around after I said I was going to call my supervisor, that's exactly what I did. I called my supervisor, and he was like, I'm so sorry. You know, every time I send y'all places, you know, something's always going on. I apologize for that, da-da-da-da. And, you know, and he was like, do you want me to call her? Do you want me to, you know, is there a nurse, the nurse that you're going to be working with tonight, can they give you a report, da-da-da? And I'm like, you know, it's okay, just forget it, you know, because I don't even want to see her face anymore for the rest of the 12 hours, because she's already pissed me off, like, with her attitude and her demeanor. I don't want to see her. I don't want you to talk to her, because I don't want any forced help. If you don't have it in you to help me and be kind to me, I'd rather find my own way. I don't want any of your help. That's kind of how I am. So I was like, nope, it's fine. You know, it is what it is, and whatever. Fast forward, I'm sitting down, and the nurse that I would have been working with that night, she overheard what the situation was, and then I didn't get a report or whatever. And see, here's the thing. I like to know for any blood pathogens, if they have HIV or hepatitis, or if they're combative, or if they're an inmate, just anything, or if they're schizophrenic or bipolar disorder or manic or have PTSD, and I need to know not to make loud noises or wake them up at certain times, like just certain things that would just be like just helpful, you know, just little things like that. That's why I like to get report. Whatever, you know, I just like it for that fact. It's not extremely necessary, but it is helpful. And I would have been okay about it if she would have showed some more just professionalism, just kindness in general. If she would just been like, oh, I'm sorry, sweetie, I sent her home because she had to do this and that, or pick up her kids, or study for school, or da-da-da-da. But I can call the nurse that you're working with and have her give you a rundown of the patients. Or I can look in the system myself and give you a quick brief update of who you're going to be, you know, working with tonight and drawing blood on tonight, you know. Like, I can do that for you, you know. It's little things like that. So it was just her delivery or whatever that made me call my supervisor. It's all in how you treat people. That's really what it is. But anyway, so I literally go in to get one patient's vitals. Got their blood sugar and stuff. As I'm coming out the room with the vitals machine, the charge nurse comes up to me and says, you can give me your patient sheets and your phone. I'm sending you back to your floor. And I'm like, okay. Mind you, I wasn't called or told anything by my supervisor that I was being sent back or going home or anything like that. So I just don't know what's going on. So I called my supervisor before I left the floor, and I said, hey, da-da-da, did you hear anything about me coming back or whatever? And he's like, no, you know, I didn't hear anything about you coming back or whatever. Nobody said anything, but just come back here so we can talk about what happened. And I said, okay. And then I got off the phone with him, and I thought, I'm like, why would he say, so we can talk about what happened? Because I already told him what happened. So what does he mean? That's weird. You know, I'm sorry guys, I can't give you guys a report because I didn't get a report, you know? And she's like, and then she butts in and she's like, it's okay, they had them yesterday. Really, bitch? Like, that's not even the point, you know? Like, anyway. So I explained to him, and he was like, well, here's the issue. She called the nursing supervisor and said that you were yelling and cursing. And I said, oh my God, that did not happen at all. She straight lied on me. So the problem was that I shouldn't have told her that I was going to call my supervisor, because it gave her the opportunity to jump the gun over me and my personal supervisor. Gave her the ammo to jump the gun over me and my personal supervisor and say this and that. The nursing supervisor emailed the director over me. So I don't know what she was doing up that night. But she was up that night, and because this is after 10. So she was just up, you know. It's just, you wouldn't think that she would see it, but I guess she happened to be, you know how you sit up late night on your phone, and she probably has it like connected where she can, you know, receive it that way or whatever. But anyway, she was up. Then she called my charge nurse and was like, what's going on, you know? So I'm sitting here tripping. I'm tripping because, one, this lady lied on me. Two, not only did she lie, she did a really bad lie saying that I was yelling and cursing. 3, she's white. And 4, I'm black. So I'm sitting here tripping, thinking that I'm going to lose my job. Like, this is it for me. All because of this lady who was being unprofessional towards me, you know, put my job in jeopardy because she's just a bitch. And yeah, so that was that. And I had to write a handwritten documentation of my perspective and everything of what happened on my end. And I didn't speak to the director that night. My director, I didn't speak to her. But I was scared of that conversation because I didn't know anything. I didn't know what was going to come out of that, out of what happened. So I start crying and everything because I'm like, I don't want to lose my job, and you know, she lied on me, and and you know, my charge nurse, he didn't want to send me anywhere else that night because he already knew I was irritated by the situation. He already knew I was upset. He didn't want to make things worse. And he said also they didn't need me anywhere else. So I just went home. Which, at the end of the day, I kind of got what I wanted because I didn't want to be there in the first place. But I'm like, if it risks my job, you know, I don't know. Was it worth it? It was not worth it. You know, I need my job. But, you know, so the next day is my birthday, of course. And I couldn't even enjoy my birthday fully. In the back of my head, I'm sitting here thinking about, what if I get that phone call from my director saying, hey, we need to have a meeting. And then I come in and it's like, hey, you know, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to let you go because this, that, and the third, and that can't be tolerated. And I'm like, but that didn't happen. And she's like, well, you know, we're just going off of what we were told, you know, it just looks really bad. You know, I didn't know, like, I don't know if y'all do that, but I play out all these, like, fucking scenarios in my head. I literally play them out, and I go through them, and I'm just like, oh my God, that can happen, this can happen. And I will play out a whole fucking movie and, like, make myself, like, depressed. It's ridiculous. So I was really running through all the possibilities. And so I didn't hear anything. And this was like, I think this was like a Tuesday. It could have been a Monday morning. I don't know, I can't remember. But it was after my birthday, of course. It wasn't on my birthday. But I called to speak to my director because I realized that I have a new phone. And that if she was trying to contact me, she couldn't because I have a new phone and she doesn't have my number. So I'm like, okay, I need to call. Even though I'm scared too and anxious too, I need to call because she could be trying to get in contact with me, and I feel like it would look even worse on my part if, you know, yeah, I got a new number, but she don't know that. So to her, if she was trying to call me, I'm just not responding, you know, or ignoring her. So I'm like, let me call because that's a bad look and I don't want that. So I called and I was like, hey, you know, I you know, didn't know if you need to speak to me, you know, to call me in to have a meeting to discuss about what happened. You know, I have a new phone now, so I knew you didn't have my number. And she's like, oh no, baby. She was like, no, you're fine. You're perfectly fine. And I was like, okay. And then because I'm so anxious, she didn't even ask. me to tell her what happened. I just like regurgitated like what happened, because like defending myself like immediately. And she's like, yeah, she was like, she was wrong and you did the right thing. And actually, that nurse has had other issues like that before, other run-ins with other people like that before. So when she said that, like, I felt so much better, because I knew that, like, I wasn't crazy. Like, you know, like, you trying to lie on me and get me in trouble, but you already have a bad track record of getting into it with people. So, you know, I was like, whew, but it just really relieved me that, because I was telling her, I was like, oh my God, you know, thank you. You know, I was scared like I was going to lose my job or something. She was like, oh no, you're fine. Your job is not in jeopardy at all. You know, she was like, that's why I just needed a handwritten documentation of what happened. So if things went further, then we have your perspective of what happened on the situation, and that can help cover us. So yeah, and then that was that. And I was like, oh, I thought I was gonna have like a meeting, like a little sit down, like so I was tripping though. I was tripping I was gonna lose my job about that. But yeah, that bitch lied on me. She lied on me. Straight lied on me. And I thought that was gonna be it. But you know, I'm glad that my director, she really she didn't get on me about it, you know, because that could happen sometimes, but she didn't, she wasn't like that. So yeah, I'm just glad I still got my job. I'm glad that it didn't go any further, because another thing that my charge nurse said, I don't know, it's so much more to talk about, because I have a lot of stories. It's been like very stressful and crazy lately. Like it's been cray at work, cray at school. There's a lot of story times I could tell you guys, but yeah. But this will be it for this one. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.